Hi everyone, it's Marianne. Welcome to Happy Paper People. Today we are making multiple pockets that can go into your journals. They can be floaters or they can be glued to the page. When we make them with book page, and we've made these before in Happy Paper People, let me grab a piece of paper to show you. We have 1, 2, 3 pockets. And if you just glue it down the sides and the bottom, 3 sides there on your page, then you have a 4th pocket here. You could let it be a floater, but with so many pockets, I do like to anchor it down, even in a corner, and let this be a side tuck with 2 sides open if you want to put something larger. But it is really nice on a page where it can take up the whole page and you can put large tags behind it. So that is made out of book page, and that's super, super simple. I'm going to show you how to do that in 2 minutes or less. It's just really fast. Then we're going to make it out of scrapbook paper or cardstock, either one. And there's multiple ways to do it. And of course, any variation you can think of. You can do rounded corners. You could do brads. You could do no brads. You could leave them squared corners. You could put eyelets instead of brads and put a charm or something else dangling. You could, instead of brads or eyelets, put some Nouveau drops, or these are Ranger enamel accents, stickles, anything you like there. Flat back pearls would be pretty as well. And you don't need to put anything there. Maybe you just want to decorate it and not put anything there at all. So we've got several variations. So let's first look at the book pages, because they are super, super simple, really fast. So it takes 2 book pages to make 1 quad pocket. 1, 2, 3, 4 is quad pocket. I'm going to set that aside for a moment. I'm going to use the same book that I made those with. And first of all, when I'm choosing my pages, I want pages, if possible, that have a lot of writing across the top. And like this doesn't have a whole lot. When it's folded, there's not a whole lot there. And when it's folded, you have to remember that the other side comes up. So I'm looking at both sides to see how much writing they have there. I like something with quite a bit of writing, and then I'll check the other side as well on the bottom. Not as much, but it's okay. Oh, there's a good one too, and that one's good. There's a lot of good pages. A lot of good pages in there. So they're all pretty much the same. So move that over, and this works with any book pages, any size book pages. So I pulled out 4. Let me just grab 2. They are upside down, aren't they? I think I'll put the numbers in the top right corner. So that would be a front. Not crazy about that as a front, so I'll move that one out. Well, that's a front. Not crazy about that as a front. That's a front. I like it. And that's a back. That's okay. That would be a front, and that would be a back. Okay, so there's my 2 pages. First thing I'm going to do is grab a scoreboard, and I'm going to score. I'm going to turn it to the side. I'm going to turn it to the side, and all I'm going to do is score the top. You can score down as far as you want. I'm going to go almost to or in the middle of that number, depending where it falls. I might even end up going past that number. So that's right above it. I think I'll go right below it. And all we're going to do is fold this top over, and it strengthens the top as you're pulling things in and out, which you do a lot if you end up putting tags or tickets or journal cards, things like that inside there. And a lot of book page is not super thick, so by folding that over and gluing that down, we strengthen that top quite a bit. Also, it makes the writing move to the top of the page, where if I do this, the top inch of the page has nothing on it and is a little more boring. So, all right. So then I'm going to flip them over and do the other end, the bottom as well, because the bottom becomes the top as well. However, this one I've scored and folded away from me, so this one I'm going to score and fold towards me. So I will flip them over I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter which side you score it on, because they're book pages. They're going to fold super easily. But which one did I end up doing? Was it that one? That seems awfully deep. Maybe I'm not holding it straight. That's a possibility too. Okay, but if I folded this one this way, I want to fold this end away from me. And you know, you don't have to score these. You really don't have to score them. You can just fold and bend and fold. You do not need to score them. It just helps me do it straight. So now I have two pieces of paper, and they are like a Z. One end folded one way, one end folded the opposite way. I'm going to separate the papers and leave them right here. Then I'm going to choose to use score tape just because it's sitting right here and it makes a nice flat fold. You do not have to. You can use any kind of adhesive, any kind of glue, but I do have double-sided adhesive sitting here, so I'm going to use it nice and flat. Okay, so I'm going to put it on the piece that I'm folding over and just run it all the way across. Cut that off. I'm going to take these off and fold them over and press them down. This is so easy. You won't even have to write anything down. You'll just remember it. You can always grab two pieces of book page and make these pockets anytime you want. They're super cute with little tiny book pages. Okay, so we folded those this way. We're just going to flip these over and we're going to fold these to the other side. I originally was doing these without folding the top down, and I mean, I did have some book pages that went a lot higher than these, or I trimmed them off. But I find that they're just so much stronger if I fold that top down and give it that little extra, well, it's doubling it up, so it's twice as strong, at least. All right, so pull the back off, fold it over, press it down, pull the back off, fold it over, press it down. Okay, so now I've got my two pieces of paper. So I can decide, see how now that the writing is much closer to the top on both sides. And I did go right below the number, so the number becomes irrelevant. Well, it's kind of sort of right there. Yeah, but you know, doesn't really matter. So let's say that's going to be the front. And I'll do this one here like this. Now, I'm just kind of guesstimating how far down I'm going to put them. I'm going to just take these two together like this, lay it down, fold them back, and then I'm going to position these the same distance apart. Roughly. I do not measure. I mean, you can eyeball it. You could count how many characters. This is a Japanese book, but it doesn't matter, honestly, especially if you're going to decorate it. Close is absolutely good enough on these. So there's a little bit of interest because there's some differences in the height of the columns, which is awesome. So then I'm going to take the center one. Could use score tape. This one, it's just easier to use glue, so I'll use glue. I'm going to put glue down the sides, both sides of the front, because the front is shorter. Always put the adhesive on the shorter side of the two things you're putting together. Okay? And then I'm going to glue it right into here. Now, see how the top of each one of them is doubled up? And it's so much easier or so much stronger. There's our fold, there's our fold. So here is the glue on the shorter side of the two pieces that are going together. I'm going to pick it up so I get that fold and put this right into the fold because I didn't do the back yet. It is art glitter glue, so it's going to dry fast. So if I need to move it, I need to do it quickly. Okay, so first and second and third are glued. Just the last one that did get a little overage on there, so put that down. down, lay it down, make sure it's straight, and press. There you go. There's a pocket. Isn't that super, super simple? Now, you can cut thumb notches, you can decorate it, you can ink it, you can do all kinds of things. But I'm not going to do any of that right now because I want to show you how to make this one, which actually has 8 pockets. This has 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. These have 8. And you could make them with 4 as well by just using a single piece of paper, just like that, of any cardstock. So you could take something that matches what you're doing your journal of from. But we use 6 by 6 pieces of paper. If you've got 6 by 6 paper pads that you need to use up, like the colors maybe, but maybe not all the designs in it. This is a great way to see the color, but not see the whole design. So by using a 6 by 6, we've got a pocket here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 if I glue it like that into a journal, or 2 sides leaving this side open. So either way, this is a nice small one, so nice small tags, tickets, folded papers, things like that would go in there. So the only real difference in these two, they actually are both made out of 6 by 6 paper. So the only real difference in them is that one has rounded corners, one does not. This one was inked, this one was not. This one has an eyelet up here instead of a brad and has a little charm on it. So you can change them up any way you want, but let's get into how to make it. Let's make sure that the glue stays gluey. There, okay. So you need 2 pieces of 6 by 6 paper to do this. These are some from the same paper pad as that one that I had pulled out. We'll do this one, and maybe we'll have time to do a second one. All right, so this one I am going to score because it is cardstock. And so it's a little bit thicker, and I know, I know that I am not going to fold it perfectly straight, and I would like it to be straight so that the pockets will line up nicely. So it is 6 inches. I'm going to score it right down the middle, so I'm scoring it at 3. So 3 inches, and the next one at 3 inches. Now you can, before you do this, you can look ahead and see which side of the paper you want to see and which direction you want it to go. If it has things that, you know, go one direction or the other, then you may want to make that decision ahead of time. So I scored it that way, so I'm going to fold it. Let's see here. So there's writing on this one, and the writing goes all directions, so that is totally fine. And when I fold it, then that'll be the top of another one, which is actually, or if I folded it that way, same thing, which is actually kind of cool because then it isn't the exact same thing on both pockets. Now this one is pretty much the same thing on both pockets like that. So it is kind of cool when it is actually a different pattern on one end. Let's see what we've got. Like this would be, I bet this would go just fine. Where did I set the, here we go. I like that stitching, so I'd kind of want that to be in front. So if that was in front, that's in back. They're the same background pattern, but a little bit different. Or if that was in front and that was in back, same thing. They are kind of the same, but a little bit different. So, I don't know. Maybe I will substitute this with this. That's just a lot of the same color. Not crazy about that. And these are single-sided papers. Well, no, they're not. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Let's see. What if I did it this way? What could I get? That would go as well. That would give us a little bit more variation. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so let's look at where we're going with this, and then I'm going to show you the biggest tip I can give you is to do everything to it before you glue it. Boy, that rhymed. Do everything to it before you glue it. So I'm going to just burnish these down a little bit here. So if this is my front page and that is my second, really not page, pocket. I don't know exactly how far down I have it, but I like a little bit of that blue if I can. And let's see where it falls here. So this is going to be the same distance as this because they're the same papers, right? So all I need to do is make the second to the third roughly the same distance. Okay, that works really nicely. That works really nicely because there's a big blue on this one, little blue on this one, and green in the middle. And then this neutral color kind of carries all the way through. And it'll be a good one to vintage and maybe decorate, cover some of this. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and crease it right there because that's where I'm going to want it folded. But I'm not going to glue it down yet because you can, and if you do, if you forget and you accidentally glue it down, you can do it. It's not impossible to do after it's glued, but that's a little bit maybe not straight. And I'll show you how we fix the little bit not straight too. So, okay, so there's my second and third pocket. Here's my first and fourth pocket. All right, so whether I wasn't holding it straight, the scoreboard's not great, or it just got folded a little bit wonky here because it was around 4 layers right there, which is probably the case. Either way, that's now burnished down and I've got a little bit of a overhang there. Wouldn't show so much putting it up like this, but you know what? It bugs me. So I'm going to take it off. All I do is grab a paper trimmer, trim that off. I'm going to bring it to the top and just trim that little tiny bit off. And oh, I need to trim that little tiny bit off. I just check all sides that are going to show. Okay. All sides that are going to show. When I fold it, when it's like this, it's straight. It's this fold. See, that's why that's why I score, because when I fold, then it goes wonky. All right. That's all right. When we glue it, we will make it straight. Okay, how's this one? It's got a little bit. Let's see. Just take the very edge off. Okay. We'll just make it straight when we glue it. No big deal. All right, so first, second, third, and fourth. Okay, the first thing that I want to do is to round the corners, like this one. If you want to round the corners, you do not have to round the corners, obviously. You do what makes you happy. You do any variation on it that you like. But I'm going to round the corners. And I'm going to use a different corner than I used on this one. On this one, I used the 1/2 inch. And on the one I'm making right now, I'm going to use the 1/4 inch. Okay, you can see a difference there. And we'll just see what it looks like when we're done. Then I can see which I like the best, maybe for future. All right, so I want all 4 corners. That's going to give me all 4 pockets rounded. Okay. Alrighty. And then if I want to ink it, it's definitely going to be easier now. But before I ink it, I'm going to need to cut the thumb notches here. Much easier to do before you glue it, because once this is glued down, you cannot get most. Let's see, this is going to go this direction, right? And so I want the thumb notch on the front. Can't get most punches down in there. It's just way too small. So I'm going to decide right about where I want that. I'm trying to center it. Okay. Then probably should have just cut both at the same time. Could have done that. In fact, I think I'll just line them up. I like for the thumb notches to be lined up because they're so right there. This one, I didn't do that, and I did it in a hurry, and they weren't exactly lined up. So I kind of cheated the label tab over to the right a little bit, and I cheated the label tab over to the left a little bit there to make them more in alignment. But if you look really closely, you can see that the edge of this thumb notch is right here, and the edge of that one is over here. They are not exactly in alignment. But that once I put those tabs there, just a little cheater trick to get your thumb notches lined up if you forget to do them at the same time. I already did one, so I'll just put this in, try to get the exact same place. And if it's not the exact same place, it's going to cut a sliver off of the first one anyway. All right. Okay, and then that's our first and second. Now we need the third and fourth. So the third, I'm going to do it this way to make sure it's lined up. You could also just put these down and measure the center mark, and which is like 1.5 inches in, because you know, this is a 6 by 6. Measure the center and then just do the center in the center of your thumb notch here. It's just, I don't know, seems faster for me, but it may not be, and it may not be for you. Okay, so there is our second and third. There's our fourth still. So let's do one more. If you bring it back together, fold it like it's going to be, which takes all of about 3 seconds, between every cut, you'll make sure you're always cutting in the correct place and you're not cutting a thumb notch somewhere that you don't want it. Okay, there we go. There's our fourth thumb notch. So I'm going to fold these back together. There's our first and fourth. There's our second and third. And there's all our thumb notches. Now, I'm not really worried about what's on the back there because I am going to put the tabs on. You can use any type of tabs on these. I just used circles and made the tabs out of the circles. You could use these if you like your thumb notches deeper. And these are pretty shallow right here, so they're not a whole lot there. But if you do like deeper thumb notches, you might have 3/4 of a circle that you could use there. So if you're going to ink, now is the time to ink. I'm not going to worry about, if I'm using single-sided paper, and then the back here would be white. I don't care. I don't worry about that because it's going to be covered with that tab. And I want to keep in mind all that's going to show. This isn't going to show because that's in the back. So this will show in the front. I don't need to ink all the stuff that's not going to show, that's going to be in the back, or be glued down, or be glued to the one underneath it, or above it. So, just get a little bit of ink here. Okay. I do like to get around the thumb notch if it's a really light paper. This isn't really light, and I probably wouldn't even worry about if I forgot to ink it right now. I wouldn't even worry about it because this paper's dark. And although, you know, inking dark paper does make for a really nice aged look. A rich aged. Okay, almost done. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Alrighty. So then what else do we have to do before we want to glue them down? We want to put, if we're going to put brads, we want to put those brads on. Because once you glue it down, you're going to have to do the brad through all the layers, which you can do. Not a huge deal. But if you don't want to do that, then you want to just put the brad through just this layer and then glue it down, and then that brad is hidden. Then in the back, the only brad you have exposed is the 2 on the top. I do them up and down so things can slide in and not get caught. And if I glue it down, they end up getting glued to the paper. So not a big deal there. So let's start with our thumb notches and our brads. I'm not sure I'm going to do brads on this. Well, maybe I will. You could even do more than one eyelet to have multiple dangles if you wanted to. Okay, so I do need to glue them together for the brad because the brad's going to go through both of them, but I don't want to glue these two pieces together. So let's start there. And I'm going to just run a bead of glue up the side. Bring it together. Have a baby wipe on hand, of course. Oh, I'm wiping off the... Oh, no, there was no ink there because that part doesn't show. Okay, we'll give that a minute. And meanwhile, we'll do the same on this one. I'm not going all the way to the corner because I kind of like those rounded corners to be slightly loose. Loose meaning not tacked down. It has a nice look and also gives you a little more flexibility when you're trying to put something in the pocket. Okay. All right. So now if I'm going to do brads, then I'm going to do 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here. So basically everywhere there's a thumb notch, on each side, everywhere there's a thumb notch, there would be a brad or an eyelet. So I'm going to grab, let's see, I'll just grab this book here and use it for a hole. I don't typically use, well, I do have a tiny hole punch. I was going to say I'll just use this somewhere over here. I have an awl, but because I don't want a hole that is as large as what I would get with my crocodile. However, I do think that I have here, unless it's not unpacked from retrieve yet, there it is. I do have a tiny hole punch. It's a much smaller hole there. And I can use that, and that's kind of the perfect size hole for a brad. Hopefully won't be too big. That's almost looks a little bit large because I'm going to use teeny tiny brads. So I'm just going to look at where I'm going to place that brad and then try to make it the same on both sides here. I'm not going to measure. I'm not going to, let's see, okay. So at the bottom of the green line is where I did, and about that far in. So, okay, so bottom of the green line and about that far in. There we go. I want to do a brad first because those seem like awfully big holes. And if the brad has trouble, I may end up putting eyelets right there, and I'll use the awl for the other ones. But let's see what we have. I've got a couple of cases of teeny tiny brads here. Colors. There's gold. There's all different colors. But maybe, let's see, some different choices here. Oh no, those are all eyelets. All right, well, back to the first case. There is copper and bronze and black. I'm thinking bronze. So actually I'll just leave that there. And I hear you screaming. I'll put the pin back in the stainless steel pin back in the art glitter glue until we need it again. Okay, so let's just grab bronze and see if it's how it does in this hole. Hopefully it's not too large. It is a pretty big hole for this teeny tiny brad, but might work, especially once they're glued down. That will help. Yeah, okay, so that will work. Well, let's just put the other one in while we're here. just as, ooh, stopped on the desk. That's a good thing. Okay, just as well, put the other one in. So, there we go. Yeah, if they weren't being glued down, I think I would just use the awl, because that's a pretty big hole. Okay, where's my other half? Here we go. That's my second and third, and there's my first and fourth. So, alrighty, so let's do the other holes. About the same, roughly. It's all roughly. We like roughly. Let's do these. You know, we like it to be well made, but we also like it to be handmade. We like it to look handmade. Not perfect. Not perfect. That's all okay. If it's perfect, then somebody might not know that it's handmade. And when you take the time to make something for someone, it'd be nice for them to know that you made it, so that they understand or realize how special the gift is. Anything that takes of your time is a very special gift, I believe. Time is so precious these days. We have so much going on in life. There's so many demands on us that giving a gift of time, I think, is an amazing gift. Really shows the importance of the person that you're giving the gift of time to. Okay, there's two. And we'll get these two. Yeah, I have one of those little brad leg separators. But you know, I don't know that I've ever used it. It's just as easy or easier just to do it with your fingers. My fingers. Usually by the time I would get it, then the brad would be on. And we don't always do 8 brads at the same time, but 2 more. 1, 2, perfect. All right, the last 2, I'm going to put them in here, and then we're going to put our tabs on. Well, there's Lucy. Somebody's making some noise out front. And she's letting him know this is her territory. So, all right. There we go. Okay, I'm going to put the tabs on before I glue them together, just so that if I have any ooze out of the back, it's easier to wipe it off. So now I need to cut some tabs. So I do have, I have a few red and blue ones that were cut from this one that I grabbed with the paper. I just kept them with the paper. So if I made something else with the paper, they would be matching. So let's see. I may or may not like them on this one anyway. I do like the writing on the red. Let's see. I might like that. What else have I got from other ones? Let's see, there is some yellow paper. I like the grunginess of that. I like how that had the stitching across it. So let's look at, these are tops of all, let's see, the writing, these with the writing on, I really like that. I like the way the stamp came out over the top of the writing. So Could use some of those, either side, actually. I did like the way that blue kind of framed that right there. Oh, cool. There's some with stitching. I really like the stitching. So let's see what we can get right there. I like the way it just went right across the top. And the yellow on the bottom is really nice then too. Stamp on. So I'm just wondering if I can get 2 out of it if I do it this way, or if I just want it to go all the way across. I might just want it to go, well, I do kind of like that. And the blue on the bottom, it's fine, it'll be covered. Let's see if I can get a second. Might not use that second one right now, but I like it. And get a couple more red ones. And if I don't use them right now or for this project, always use them for another project, right? And I can always check the back of these too. Not crazy about that one. Let's see here. All right, so where is our... Let's see what other scraps I have right here. Oh, this is nice with a little grid pattern on it. That might work as well. Robert Louis Stevenson, Treasure Island. I like that. Okay. These are pretty cool right here, but it's still a full piece of paper, and I can use that to make one. So I am going to see if I am happy with the ones I have. And let's see. Oh, I do have writing over here. I really like the writing on the top, so let's grab a couple of those. Here's one. I'm not going to use more than 2 on each one anyway, because I'm not going to put 2 of the same ones side by side. Did I lose that down inside or did it fall out? Not sure. But we'll find out. I think it was that one. Or what was that one? It was that one. There it is. Okay. All right. So... like the writing. Checking the back side of these as well to see if there's any there. That one with the stitching we like. So that's kind of cool. Could actually go that way. That one with the stitching we like. There's a couple more up here. That and oh, that's kind of cool. That's a little overload on some of those would work on that one. Okay, let's see what we've got here. Okay, so if we put one with the stitching right there and another one with, nope. You just have to go with what looks good to you, what you like. I will distress these. Now I lost that one down in. There we go. Gotta hold them down. I will distress them, so they will be aged a bit. Those two look an awful lot alike. So what if we turn it? What if we turn it around? And had some stitching up and down. And this one we have the stitching side to side. It is right next to that stitching it's probably not that big of a deal. Just, you know. In fact, every time I've made them, if we just slap them on, when you get done, you always like it. You know, it always looks great. They just are great pockets, easy to do, quick, and you can use any scraps that you have or want to make the tabs. You could make these smaller or larger as long as it's a square, and then you just score it in the middle. I like that. Looks good to me, so let's call that good right there. Okay, so that's going to be top, middle, second, and first. All right, so let's go ahead and put the first one in. This one's going to go this way, so I'm going to glue roughly the bottom half. Oh. Yeah, you could make these larger. Take 8 by 8, 10 by 10. Score it in half. It'd be 5 inches. It could cover a whole journal page. You could take a smaller 3 by 3, 2 by 2. As long as they are square, they're going to fold right. There we go. Just had to get something out of there. Okay, this is going down inside. And just decide how far up you want it to stick. I want to see that stitching, and I also need to slide it a bit. There we go. I also want to be able to stamp on it. So that's how far I'm going to put it. Only a tiny bit of glue on the back. So there we go. All right, so the others can all follow suit as to how far down they are. We're going to do this one next. I like the writing. I'll have the writing up top. So this will be the bottom half. Doesn't take a lot of art glitter glue. And I'm going to look at these just to put them in about the same depth. If they're close, that's fine. If there's a huge difference, then I'll pull one up or push the other down. Okay, then our third pocket right here. And this one is going to go up and down. So this will be our bottom half. And if you haven't joined us on Happy Paper People Facebook group or followed the Happy Paper People page, Facebook page, please feel welcome to join us there. If you like paper and creating, we embrace artists and artistry of all types. So I'm a firm believer that we can be inspired by all different kinds of art, whether it's really your jam or not, or something you do or don't do. You know, quilters can look at cards and be inspired, get ideas. Scrapbookers can look at quilts and be inspired for page layouts. Journalers, art journal makers, junk journal makers can be inspired by all those things. Anything that has color and design and art of any kind, we can all be inspired by. So we welcome artists of all genres, and we are a no drama group. We enjoy supporting and uplifting one another, and we have a lot of fun here on YouTube and in the Facebook group. But if you have decided to like our channel, if you go ahead and subscribe, then you'll get notifications of when we do live sales or when we are doing live Laugh-In Crafts. Those are lots of fun. I'm just going to burnish this down a little bit tighter so that it will fold a little bit flatter. Okay. There we go. I think we are ready to glue, except I have not inked the tabs. So I'll just do that quickly. That is easier before they are down. And yes, I hear you. I'm getting the top on the art glitter glue. There we go. Okay, So 1, 2, 3, 4, all ready to go in a row. And now we need that art glitter glue all over again. We're going to take the center 2 out, just like we did the book page. And we are going to put the adhesive on the shorter of the 2 sides. And I put my brad legs going up and down, which leaves a little more space in there for something to slide in and out. Okay. And then I'm going to come to this one, which is the shortest of the 2 going together, and I will put glue on the front or the back of that front flap. All right, slide this down. Make sure that they're lined up, because it does take very quickly, this glue does, if you're not familiar with art glitter glue. If you like glue that dries fast when you're paper crafting, so you don't have to hang out and wait for it to dry or hold it for a long time, art glitter glue is one of my 3 favorites. I have 3 that all work like that. They're all amazing. They're all very good adhesive and dry super quickly. That is art glitter glue, Barely Art glue, and Stamparia's scrapbooking glue. Their glue works the same as art glitter glue and Barely Art, and I really, really like it. Okay, there we go. There we go. Glued together. Okay. So if you're going to glue this down and you feel like you need to, you could put a little piece of paper over those 2 brad legs. But if I'm going to glue it down, it's going to end up glued pretty darn close to the brads anyway, because I have a hard time getting it just on the very, very edge. But the last thing that I like to do, you can see what a difference it makes there, is just do a little bit of stamping on those tabs. So all I'll do is grab one of these, either etc. or Field Notes. It's a Tim Holtz stamp set. I just use etc. or Field Notes on that. So let me see what's in etc. here. If there's something, things that are small enough that I can do that. Round ones work too. That might look kind of cool. Type slide. I'm looking for all the teeny tiny numbers, and those end up looking really nice on these. Oh, there's a lot of teeny tinies in here. I like it. Like it a lot. Claim check. Okay. That's good. That's way plenty. That's more than we need. Okay. I'm going to get the top back on the art glitter glue. And we're going to do a quick stamping here. Let's see. Long one. That. I'm going to put this 1913 right down on the bottom of that one. And maybe even something, hopefully there's room just right at the top of it. There we go. That's good. Don't necessarily have to be able to read it all. I just like the way it looks. Okay. And let's see here. I might get 2 on this one as well. There we go. Just a bunch of stamping that's old that you can't hardly see. That's awesome. Oops, I just did that one on there. I'm just going to stamp it on here for another one. Future. But I did that one on here, so I don't want to do it on there as well. Let's do the type slide. And something short or thin over the top of it. There we go. Okay, there we go. You can see the difference on the corners, where this one I used the 1/2 inch rounder, this one I used the 1/4 inch rounder. And this one I used no rounder at all. So, okay, that makes me curious. Leave a comment and let me know, which do you like best? Which do you prefer? The wider round, the 1/2 inch round, the shorter round, which is the 1/4 round, or no round at all, leaving them square corners? Which do you prefer? I'm thinking about which I prefer, but I'm really curious as to what is more appealing to you. So let me know which of those 3 you like best, corner-wise. Alrighty, so I'm going to leave it at that, but now you know how to make super easy and quick pockets. Grab 2 book pages. Actually, you could grab any kind of pages you want. They could be maps. They could be they can be as wide as you want or as small as you want. They could be pages out of a botanical book that are really cool. They could actually be 2 pieces of scrapbook paper, or even cardstock that are the same size. That's all they need to be, is rectangular and the same size. So you could do it with square. You just end up with pretty wide, compared to your height, but that's okay. Then it would go farther across the bottom of a page as opposed to up into the page. So there we go. Thanks for joining me today. Appreciate you being here. It's been awesome, and we'll see you again real soon.